I had never been scared of being alone at night. It was just another evening, another quiet shift of solitude in my own house. I had lived here for 3 years without incident, and I'd spent countless nights by myself without giving it a second thought. But that night, something was different. It started small. I had just come back from work, kicked off my shoes, and settled on the couch with a beer. The house was still, except for the low hum of the refrigerator and the occasional creak of old wood settling. I liked the silence. It was comforting. But as I sat there, I heard something. A small sound, just at the edge of perception. Not loud, not obvious, but just enough to prick the back of my neck. A shuffle, a footstep. I froze, my beer halfway to my lips. The sound had come from the hallway leading to my bedroom. My first instinct was to brush it off. Houses make noises. Wood expands, pipes shift. The wind rattles against the siding. But this wasn't a house noise. It was deliberate, measured, like someone was standing just out of sight. I set my beer down and stood up. The living room light didn't reach the hallway, and the entrance to my bedroom was a black void. I told myself it was nothing, but my gut twisted. Just in case, I grabbed the nearest thing to a weapon, a heavy glass candle holder, and stepped forward. Hello? My voice felt small, ridiculous. Silence. I reached for the light switch in the hallway, flicked it on. The yellow glow spilled down the short corridor, revealing nothing. My bedroom door was slightly open, just as I'd left it. The bathroom door was closed. The guest room was empty, as always. It was nothing. Had to be. I let out a slow breath and shook my head at myself. I had been working too many late shifts. My mind was playing tricks. I set the candle holder down and forced myself to laugh. It was stupid. I was stupid. But as I turned back toward the living room, something caught my eye. The hallway closet door. It was open. Not wide open, but just enough. A crack, a sliver of darkness between the white panels. I never left it open. Never. A thick unease settled in my chest. I swallowed hard and took a slow step forward. Maybe I'd forgotten to close it all the way. Maybe the air pressure in the house had nudged it open. I reached out and grabbed the doorknob. The metal was cold. With one quick motion, I pulled it open. Empty. Just coats and a few boxes stacked in the corner. I exhaled, longer this time. Jesus, I needed to get a grip. I shut the door firmly, even yanked on it once to make sure it was latched. Then I went back to my beer, determined to let it go. For a while, I did. I distracted myself with my phone, scrolling through meaningless videos, letting the glow of the screen ease my nerves. And then I heard it again. A creak, not loud, not sharp, but from the hallway. My stomach knotted. Slowly, I turned my head. The hallway closet door was open. This time, it was wide open. Chapter 2. The stranger inside. I couldn't move. My body locked up, my breath hitched, and every nerve in me screamed to run. But I didn't. I just sat there, staring at the open closet door, feeling my pulse hammer against my ribs. I knew. I had closed it. I had yanked it shut. There was no breeze in the house, no faulty latch. This wasn't something I could explain away. For a long moment, I did nothing. Maybe, if I ignored it, it would somehow undo itself. Maybe I had imagined it, but the dark space inside the closet gaped at me, waiting. And then I saw it. A shape. At first, I thought my mind was filling in the blanks. Shadows can play tricks on you, But as my vision adjusted, the outline sharpened. A sliver of something. Not clothing, not a box. Something just barely visible behind the hanging coats. Someone. A breath left my body in a short, sharp burst. I grabbed the candle holder again and stood. My hand was shaking. My brain ran through every possible scenario at once. Had someone broken in? Was this some sick joke? The silence pressed in. I took a slow step forward, my ears straining for any sign of movement. Nothing. Another step. Still nothing. And then, just as I reached the closet, the coats shifted. Not from a draft, not from my movement. They shifted as if something inside had adjusted. I didn't think, I acted. With every ounce of strength I had, I swung the candle holder into the closet. It hit something solid with a sickening thud. A muffled grunt, then a flurry of movement. A man. He came bursting out, half falling, half lunging toward me. I stumbled back, heart slamming against my ribs. He was tall, wiry, dressed in dark clothes. His face, what little I saw of it, was gaunt, pale, eyes wide with something between rage and panic. I don't remember making the decision to run. My body took over before my brain could catch up. I bolted for the front door, but he was fast. Too fast. Fingers closed around my wrist. I wrenched myself free, skin burning where his nails scraped. I twisted, swinging blindly with the candle holder again. It connected with his arm, and he let out a strangled noise. I didn't look back. I ran. Out the front door, down the porch steps, into the street. My lungs burned, my vision tunneled. A neighbor's porch light flicked on. "Hey, what's going on?" A man's voice. Gerald, the guy from 2 houses down. I gasped for breath, pointing at my house, barely able to get the words out. Someone inside called the cops. Gerald vanished back into his house, and I turned, bracing myself for what I'd see. But my front door was shut. No movement. No sign of the man. Had he run out the back? Was he still inside, hiding? The police arrived minutes later. They searched the house, checked every closet, every dark corner. Nothing. No sign of forced entry. No muddy footprints. No indication that anyone had been there at all. Except for one thing. The hallway closet door was open, and inside, tucked neatly on the top shelf, was something that didn't belong to me. A cell phone, still powered on, still unlocked, and displaying a photo of me, taken from inside my own house. I couldn't breathe. My own face stared back at me from the phone screen. The photo wasn't from tonight. It was older. Days, maybe even weeks. I was sitting on my couch, legs kicked up, completely unaware that someone had been watching me. One of the officers, a woman named Harper Burton, took the phone from my shaking hands. "You don't recognize this?" she asked. I shook my head. She tapped on the screen. The photo app opened. A series of images appeared. My stomach dropped. There were dozens of them. Me cooking in the kitchen, me walking down the hallway, me sleeping, my house, my life, captured from inside my own home. I staggered back, bile rising in my throat. I don't understand. How did he get in? How long has he been here? Burton exchanged a look with the other officer, Ralph Ward. He exhaled sharply. "We'll have to dust for prints, check for signs of a break-in, but..." He hesitated. "There's a chance he never had to break in at all." The words chilled me. "What do you mean?" Burton frowned, scrolling through the phone. "You rent this place, right?" "Yeah, for the past 3 years." "Ever changed the locks?" My mouth went dry. I hadn't. Not once. Ward rubbed his jaw. It's possible he had a key. Could have been the previous tenant, a maintenance worker, someone who had access before you moved in. The thought sent a fresh wave of nausea through me. I had been living with a ghost, not the supernatural kind, but something worse. A real flesh and blood intruder, watching me, waiting. I had to get out of that house. I knew it with absolute certainty, but the cops weren't done. Burton tapped into the phone settings, checking the recent activity. There are texts here, sent just an hour ago. To who? She read the messages aloud. He heard me. Had to hide. Almost got caught. Might have to do it tonight. A silence fell over the room. My knees went weak. Ward's voice was tight. He wasn't working alone. My skin crawled. Burton didn't look up. She was still reading. And he was planning something for tonight. The words settled like ice in my chest. I wasn't supposed to find him. Not yet. He wasn't just hiding. He was waiting. My eyes darted to the windows, the doors. Every shadow felt too deep, too dark. We need to check the house again. Ward nodded. And we need to find out who he was talking to. Burton was already calling it in. More units, more officers. I didn't sleep that night. They never caught him. Whoever he was, whatever he had planned, he vanished. But I never went back to that house. And sometimes, when I close my eyes, I still see that last photo in my mind. One final image on his phone, taken from behind a crack in the hallway closet door. Me, sitting on the couch, and just behind me, in the reflection of the TV screen, the outline of someone standing in the dark.